Miguel Myers. Welcome to My Horror Confessional, where every week I will have a guest come on and talk about one classic horror movie that they haven't seen and why. We'll discuss the movie, the actors, and we're probably going to get off topic quite a bit. Once I believe that they have properly atoned, I will absolve them of their horror movie sin. For the purposes of this podcast, we will be defining any horror movie made at least 20 years ago as a classic. I'm not interested in gatekeeping my guests, so if they consider it a classic, we will cover it, with very few exceptions. So that means currently, for a movie to be considered a classic, it only needs to have been released in 2001 or before. I started this podcast for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, I love horror movies. I eat, sleep, and breathe them. To me, there is no better genre than horror. Today, the horror genre is the only genre producing great movies with entertaining stories, impactful characters, and amazing acting. Directors like Guillermo del Toro, Jordan Peele, Julia Ducournau, and Anna Lily Amirpour are pushing the boundaries of what a horror movie can and should be. It's invigorating and so rewarding. I say rewarding because the horror fan is a special type of person. We are the type of people who will wade through a 2-hour piece of shit movie to see that one amazing scene, that one great kill, and come away happy. And don't get me wrong, as horror fans, we do need to wade through a ton of shit sometimes to find that diamond in the rough. I don't know any comedy fans that wade through tons of unfunny movies to find that one good joke, or Western fans who comb through stacks and stacks of movies to find that one great gunslinger showdown. The second reason is because, well, frankly, I'm lonely. I miss my horror friends. This pandemic has been absolutely horrible and millions of people have died, which is truly horrific. And if you can't get vaccinated, please do so. But one of the many ways it has affected our lives is that it brought daily life to a grinding halt. Horror conventions, movies, shows, get-togethers, all that stopped. This thing that I loved, that allowed me to connect with others, just stopped one day in March of 2020. And to be honest, my love of horror has always been a solo affair, for the most part. I didn't really have a lot of people who liked horror like I did growing up, or even when I became an adult. So when I moved to Austin and I found this horror community, I was so happy. I just started to find friends in it when the pandemic hit. So I needed a way to connect again with that community. Luckily, I stumbled across a podcast at the beginning of the pandemic that brought back a lot of that feeling instantly. It's called Pod Mortem, and its hosts, Renee Hunter Vasquez, John Paul Vasquez, and Travis Hunter, imbue every episode with the love and care of the genre that can only come from people that live and breathe it. They helped me get out of the funk of missing horror and inspired me to want to do it myself. They're great, and you should definitely listen and subscribe to them. At the same time, I had friends, some of whom you will be hearing in the future, encouraging me to do something with my love for this genre. My wife Hillary also pushed me to get back into podcasting after my brother passed away. I had a previous book review podcast with my friends Andrew Hilbert and Zach Chapman that was an absolute blast to do. But when my brother passed away, I kind of lost the joy in doing it. And honestly, it didn't seem right to continue. But now I'm back and I feel great about the conversations I've had with my friends. I've cut together a couple of snippets for my conversations with my guests, and I wanted to play those here for you now. So please enjoy. So, Andrew, what is your history with horror? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Did you grow up watching it? Did you get into it later in life?
I think as a child, I was always interested in the weird, dark stuff. The scariest memory I have as a child is my mom gave me a one of those 3D what do they call it, magic eye things.
Yeah.
Well, back in those days they had fax machines, and like chain emails, there's chain faxes. And one of the things was like, stare at this and see how you'll end your life. And then you stared at it, and it was a picture of Jesus.
Of course.
And it scared the shit out of me.
Wait, so does that mean that Jesus will end your life?
Yeah, dude, he
Was
wrecks
that a
it.
threat?
I don't know. It's something weird. I was a very little kid.
Well, the other thing is I'm just wondering. It's okay. So Jason Voorhees is the killer, like in the second and third movies, or is he an undead zombie? Because I feel like he's undead because he drowned.
Yeah, the same thing goes with Michael Myers at this point. It's like, is he supernatural? Like, you just have to release.
But he has to be supernatural from the get go because the lore is that he drowned and his mother was killing people. So if he's killing people,
Yeah, he's definitely. We're gonna like.
I kind of now I want to know.
He's definitely dead in part one.
Yeah.
So anything after that, it's like he's either zombie or supernatural or like not a ghost, right? But either zombie or supernatural. But how can he be a zombie if he was dead as a child?
How is he a zombie man?
Yeah.
How did he keep growing?
This is bullshit.
I know, but that's interesting. Like, it's kind of interesting. I want to know what's the story of. Did he go to college? Did he like get? You know, he had to start lifting at some point.
Barely speak. He can't even speak. The only words that he speaks throughout the whole series are in the flashbacks of this movie when he's drowning. The rest of the series doesn't talk, so he doesn't.
Well, same thing. Michael Myers says the same thing in Halloween.
Yeah,
1.
Michael Myers, he doesn't speak. So one thing.
Yeah, he does in the Rob Zombie.
Moving on. He goes to Margie's house and finds this fucking scene. He hears it first. It's the worst part, and he's like hitting himself in his head. He's hearing Anna groaning.
Yeah, having sex.
Right. We assume that sex. We don't know yet, but she's groaning.
You know. You know. What do you mean? You assume? You heard the moan.
And then, this is some sexual suspense, some tension here.
Right.
And
but
then,
you knew it was sex.
And this is the scene I bet in the director's mind he's been leading up to. This is what he sold the movie on, right? A woman having sex with an octopus.
Right.
That's what we see. This is so, I don't know, perverse, or I don't know, perverse the right.
But
weird.
Do you know what the most disturbing part of this was for me?
Disturbing is the word I was looking for.
The most disturbing part for me is like, I don't know, man. This is the 21st century. And we grew up with computers, with movies that were super graphic. Mm-hmm. I told you when I started watching horror movies, right?
Yeah.
So I see this scene, and we're not watching it in 1981. We're watching this in 2021.
40 years later.
So I'm going, like, okay, this is happening, you know? Like, I'm not shocked at all.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like more trying to figure out what's going on.
The logistics of it?
Yeah,
okay.
Totally. And I'm like, man, they did a good job, like really making that octopus do the thrusting motion, you know? And then, but this was the disturbing part. Mark is watching, doing the same thing I'm doing as a viewer. But Anna turns and looks, never breaks what she's doing, and says, almost. She says it like 4 or 5 times. Like, it lasts a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, being that dude, rolling up on that situation.
It was very generous of him to let her bust that nut.
And on top of that, what was he going to do anyway? His other option was to just walk out. It was never to act in a violent way.
Because he would never. Because his character
what could he have
never
done? No, his character has proven himself to be violent, or to attempt.
Oh yeah, that's
but
right.
he failed at every violent attempt he ever made.
You don't think
too.
in that weird fucking situation?
I guess instead of killing Heinrich,
I'm gonna place you in right now. Yeah, of course.
Hold on, time out. Let's circle back. How did Heinrich whoop his ass if he was Secret Service motherfucker? Heinrich whooped his ass
Right.
handily.
In a confrontation one-on-one. Mark is a sneaky motherfucker.
Right, right, and he was also in a delusional, crazy state,
Right.
or maybe that had something to do with it. So
Yeah.
we'll give some
And also,
allowances.
Heinrich was bleeding out because he was wearing white, so he was obviously
and
wasn't
surprise attack.
Man, you can't get up on my boy Heinrich. Well, he would have fucking whooped his ass.
That's true.
But I'm gonna put you in that situation. You're in that situation. What are you gonna do?
I would have walked out. I wouldn't have kept watching.
Okay, but you could also like push the
No,
push
I wouldn't have done that.
No, right.
I wouldn't have done that. Because
Okay.
you know what? That was a willing, consensual moment.
Okay.
Who am I? I'm not going to try and stop it. My woman has made her decision at that moment.
Wow, your woman? Wow, very possessive.
My possessive woman.
Wow, couldn't be me. All right,
The woman I'm sleeping with has made her decision, and she decided somebody else. That's okay.
In the backyard, ripping up an old garden, and they find a little skeleton finger sticking out of the ground, like a plant. So it reminded me a bit of that.
Okay. Something along the lines of that happened to me, and it was really creepy.
What?
A friend of mine was moving. I won't say who, but they were moving out of town, and they're also a horror collector, and they had a bunch of stuff that they were going to be taking with them. So he's like, they gave me like I don't know, 5 or 6 plastic tubs full of Halloween decorations and posters, just stuff like that. So I was going through them all, and I found this like very small brass container, and I shook it, and it sounded like there's a coin inside, right? So I went ding 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 ding. I open it up. There's what looks like a pinky bone in there. I was like, holy shit, this must be a decoration.
Yeah.
I pull it out, and it felt like a real bone. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Did I just find somebody's like ransom note or something?
Ransom note.
So I was like, fuck, my fingerprints are on this now. So I threw it back in there. I put it down. I was like, texted my friend. I was like, hey, man, I just found, and I took a picture. I was like, I just found this. Is this yours? He's like, holy shit, I'm so embarrassed. I can't believe that was in there. I was like, oh, yeah, do you want it back? He's like, yes, I need it back. I was like, I don't want to know anything.
What?
I didn't want to know anything.
Oh my god.
You would have wanted to know?
How could you live with yourself without knowing every detail?
Because because you know why? Because I grew up, my grandfather on my mom's side didn't have his pinky, whatever these two, the middle finger and the one in the middle of that index.
What?
He didn't have these three, the pinky, the middle finger, and the one that's in the middle of them.
The ring finger?
Is the ring finger? Okay,
Yeah.
so the ring finger. This is the index finger? Is this good for podcasts? So anyway, he didn't have these three. They were chopped at like an angle.
Why?
Because when he was a younger man, he lived in Puerto Rico, and for income, he would chop down mangoes and just trees that were up, fruits that were in the trees and stuff like that. And one day he was drunk and chopped off his own freaking fingers.
I thought you wouldn't tell me he was selling his fingers.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. No, but he ended up losing them.
Yeah.
And so I thought maybe it's some family pinky that he doesn't want to talk about. I don't know.
I would have made him tell me everything before I gave it back to him.
What if you got implicated in something, and then you got to deal with that?
Like what?
Maybe he killed somebody and kept the pinky as a...
That'd be awesome.
Maybe he's a warlock.
I want to be involved in anything. I'm lonely.
Yeah, just...
Include me.
I guess if I would have known that one. Anybody's ripping anybody.
Yeah, because it is like vampire stuff is gonna be moody by nature, and like,
Right.
and obviously this obsession with the sun or the lack of it, is a big part of the like vampire lore.
How are you with vampire movies? There are like as a genre. Do you tend to like them or not like them?
I mean, I don't care that much. Like, I feel kind of like a jerk in a way because like I hated the movies Only Lovers Left Alive. Like I thought it was deeply pretentious. I thought it was just
Oh my God.
with, like just garbage ideas from Jim Jarmusch just sucking his own dick profusely throughout the whole fucking thing. But the only good vampire movie is Blade. Blade is the only good vampire movie. There, I said it.
You know, you know what? I can agree with you on that.
I'm just
Blade is the best fucking movie.
Blade is great. That fucking rave scene where they're like just drenched in blood. Like, come on.
The
That's a good video
the
game
opening
movie.
scene, that's one of the best opening scenes that I've seen in a horror movie.
Yeah.
Da-na-na, da-na-na, da-na. I don't even like electronic music like that, but
Was it
every time I see
Sandstorm?
that scene, I'm jumping and I'm raving with them.
Yeah. Like, I saw that around the time it must have come out on video. I don't think I saw it in the theater, and I was just like, yeah, this is cool. I want to be a cool
And
vampire.
Wesley Snipes is just awesome all the time. So, does this remind you of another famous horror movie shot? I want to ask you specifically because we love this movie.
Yeah. Oh, I think I know what you're referencing.
Okay.
With Michael Myers kind of emerging from the background,
Yeah,
punching the
that's why I
tent.
have you on this.
And I'll tell you, I feel like that was the scariest part of the movie. It definitely, like, I was enthralled. I was definitely paying attention the whole time, but I shot up straight. Like, at that moment, like, it definitely gave me goosebumps. And I did think, I was like, man, it was the same feeling I remember the first time I watched Halloween when Michael Myers, like, face, like, vaguely appears behind Laurie and he just,
Yeah.
like, comes forward.
Yeah, I was like, so the first time I saw this, I didn't catch it, but the second time when I was taking my notes, I was like, holy shit, wait up, hold up.
Yeah.
And, it's a great shot. And this was made in 61 and Halloween came out in 78. So what is that, 17 years later or whatever. Carpenter was in film school. So, this, I'm sure maybe he saw it, or maybe it's just two great minds thinking alike. Whatever the case is, the shot is gorgeous. I love it.
So effective.
I guess this is necessary to figure out, what's going on with these ghosts. And this is the most like un-American thing I can think of is like instead of ghosts wanting to kill you, ghosts want to make you as lonely as they are.
Yeah, first of all, what I want, my first thing is how the hell does this guy know this? Like he's got this theory of the universe going on, and up to this point it felt like the protagonists in the story, at least I felt, were isolated in this. Like we don't know that it's happening beyond this group that we're dealing with. And then this guy sort of pops in. He's like, "I've got a theory about all the stuff that's going on." And
yeah, it's like where'd you come from? It's not like you're a 12th grader and you're telling the 11th graders how everything works or something,
Yeah, it was very weird that he just sort of comes up with this theory out of the blue with no one really asking like what's going on. The theory that he comes up with and he puts out in the movie is that where souls go when you die, that space is full. And so that space is full and under pressure. And so since it's full, those souls need to go somewhere and they can no longer fit in the space of dead people. And so they're looking for another world to breach into. And so they breach into our world through the internet. How the internet is the splice between where dead people are and us, I have no idea. But apparently it's dead people going through the internet.
Essentially, it comes down to when there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. So I hope you like what you've heard and that you'll join me every Friday for a new conversation. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, I'm at MHCPod, like My Horror Confessional Pod, at MHCPod. On Instagram, I'm My Horror Confessional. My email is myhorrorconfessional@gmail.com. And the music was brought to you by Taylor Fox. You can follow her on Instagram at the Taylor Fox. The artwork was done by Cap Mikey. You can follow him on Instagram at capin_Mikey_art. I hope to see you all soon.